Hello, I'm Maureen McGrath. I'm a registered nurse and a nurse continence advisor, and I am delighted to be hosting another Contino Conversation. And joining me here today for the Contino Conversation is Judy. She is the wife of the wonderful Sten, who we've spoken to in the past about leakage of urine, urinary incontinence, and the impact that it has not only on the patient, but also on those loved ones who live with people who experience urinary incontinence. So lovely to see you today, Judy.
Nice to meet you, Maureen.
For Sten, what did you see? What was he experiencing from your perspective when this urinary incontinence, after everything he had gone through and everything you've gone through? And quite to be quite honest, when I hear your story, I think you've practically gotten a medical degree while he was hospitalized for 75 days. I mean, you're so well versed in this, and you've gone through intensive care unit and recovery room and all the different surgeries and the complications and the deconditioning of your husband. And what was it like when he came home and finally, after 75 days, and he's alive and he's doing well, but he's got this persistent leakage of urine? What was his mood like? What was his self-esteem like?
I think because he was still learning mobility, he was kind of putting the incontinence just on the side. Like it bothered him, but he was just trying to keep mobile. So he was using a walker, and then he went from a walker to a cane, thinking that when he built up those muscles again, because he hadn't any exercise for all that time, that he would gain control. And that's,
Right.
we were kind of told that. And then as
That that's not uncommon. The medical profession does often say, well, just give it a tincture of time and things should resolve. But that wasn't the case. And how long did it go on before Stan decided to seek treatment for his urinary incontinence? How long did he experience it before he said, enough is enough? I'm going to go back. Surely there's something that can be done.
that's hard to know for sure. I think he gave it probably a year, and then that's all he could talk about was his incontinence.
Right, right.
It bothered him.
What
And
was it like for you to see him that way?
well, it hurt. I would try to encourage him, but I could see that my husband was not happy. It was affecting him emotionally, mentally. It was affecting me emotionally and mentally. Anything that I would try to pick him up, and do things for him to try to make him laugh, like we were watching funny movies and things like that. It was a temporary fix, but it wasn't something that he could just forget about. He was almost becoming obsessed with his incontinence. My husband was always in charge. Okay, he was an ex-RCMP. He retired from the RCMP. He was in control, and now he had lost that, and it bothered
Right.
him a lot.
I can only imagine. And what were some of the things that he tried to help him deal with his urinary incontinence?
He tried different exercises, specifically trying with the bladder, like he had been taught to do. Everything he tried, and just to make things, try to get it more normal, he would have his urinal handy. So if he didn't think he could make it to the bathroom, it was at the bedside.
And that's embarrassing.
Well, it was. He went to another
Mm.
bedroom. He didn't want me to be disturbed by him getting up so many times. And he says, one of us need to be strong. One of us need our rest. And
Oh,
so he moved into a spare bedroom
right. Yeah.
for over 50 years now. And it was so unusual. But his self-esteem was gone.
Yeah. Oh, and it affects intimacy as well. We often don't talk about that. And I hear that over and over, time and time again from my patients that they end up in separate bedrooms because of urinary incontinence. And was he wearing pads at the time as well?
Yes, he was. And
Mhm.
that was another thing that I knew it bothered him so bad, because he'd say, Judy, you have to go get me more diapers.
Yeah,
Um, and he just says, like, he hated to even go out anywhere because he was wearing diapers, adult
it's
diapers.
so undignified. Yeah,
And all he would wear was sweatpants. He didn't want to get dressed up because you
right,
don't fit right. Diapers take more room. You
right.
know, it was just a horrible time for him.
Many of my patients have experienced isolation and depression as a result of urinary incontinence. And I think it's even harder for men. I think it's that much more difficult. And it does sound like it's had an impact on you. Of course, we want our loved ones to be happy. And, when we see them suffering emotionally or psychologically in any way, and, we feel powerless, we feel out of control. And it just seems like the bladder, although it's out of control, is controlling our lives. So, how did you come to find a solution that actually worked for Sten?
When we went to our radiation oncologist, he sent Stan to the Bladder clinic in Abbotsford Hospital, where we live. And the nurse there said to Stan, I think I've got a solution for you, and it's called a Contino. And so we looked into it, and Stan watched what he could online, made an appointment, but again, we're waiting for appointments, and COVID is here, so things even take longer. And that's how he came across Contino.
Right.
And then things started to work for him. He met Andrew, and there was another fellow as well. And anytime things didn't work and they were trying to increase the size, because it's not an instant thing
No.
for him, or it wasn't for him, it might be for others, but they would talk him through it. He
Mhm.
was learning, and it started to work more and more. Sure, he had some mishaps, but he could see that it was going to work.
I
And
can see the
now,
smile on your face just talking about Contino. Your entire demeanor has changed, and what a difference! And it sounds like Contino has made a tremendous difference in your lives, in both of your lives.
it has. He's back in my bedroom,
Wow.
and he calls it our bedroom, he said. And um, we're getting out. We're with people again. We're with family again. He's wearing blue jeans again. Just, you know,
Uh,
um, life is so different. It's getting normal, you know.
nice.
Yeah,
So he's no longer in diapers.
no longer in diapers. He
That's
still wears
fantastic.
just a panty liner, because sometimes when he goes for a walk and then does his exercise, it's 3 hours, because he's still
Right,
trying
right,
to get his strength back. And so he just has it there as a safety measure. But no more diapers, a panty liner occasionally. But
right.
that's it works. No urinal at bedside, no urinal anywhere.
So much has changed.
Bathroom. Yes,
That is
yes.
so fantastic. It's just wonderful to hear and just so lovely to see the elation in your face and hear it in your voice as well. What is it like? I know that you're not the patient, but how does the Contino device work?
He still makes sure that if we're going out or whatever, he will use the washroom, and
Hmm.
when we come back, he will use the washroom. But he knows with the Contino, there's, like, he wouldn't even know before with his incontinence. He would just wear a diaper, and he say, oh, darn, you know. But now he knows he can control, he can stop his stream even midway when
Wow.
he is waiting. So it's normal.
That is fantastic. And he leaves the Contino device and is in for a few hours and then removes that to go to the bathroom?
Yes, he
And
does.
does he ever complain of any discomfort or pain? Does he even know that it's there? Does it become second nature?
It's second nature. I've never heard any complaints from him. No, the only trouble he had was getting to the right size, and that was because he had constrictures and things like that in the urethra. But now that's all fixed. There's no problem. He does the washing up that he needs to do for the Contino, and he has it just like in a little case, a glass case, and it's just with him when he needs it. He goes to the washroom and does his thing, and um, uses a very little lubricant, but that's all part of the whole little glass case, and never a
Mhm.
word. I don't know.
Isn't that great? So it's not controlling your lives any longer. And it sounds like you're getting back to a healthy, fulfilling, joyful life where you're able to enjoy activities and friends and family as well. And how's Sten doing today, mood wise and from a psychological perspective?
Oh, there's such a difference. Stan is back to where he was before all of this. Right now, he's carving a Halloween pumpkin and having
Uh,
fun. Um, One little thing I'll share with you. In August, my niece got married, and it was an outdoor wedding, and it was at Shuswap. And so this was our first event for him leaving home, actually.
wow.
But he was confident that with the Contino, he could do that. He put on a suit, uh, and it was a very nice suit. And he knew that he would not have any issues wetting, or he didn't have to wear a diaper or anything. So he put on his best suit. And then during the wedding, they had a little dance floor because it was under a tent and everything. There was music going on. You know how the guys are, they always hang out together, and the girls are out there and we're dancing to the music. And they were playing a slower music, like a waltz. And I see Stan coming up, and he wanted to dance. And I
Oh,
thought, that's it. He's back. it was
wow. Isn't that
it was wonderful. He would have never done that. I used to leave home to do grocery shopping or whatever, and I would look over in the window as I'm driving by, and it was the lazy boy. You could see his head in the lazy boy. I'd come home, his head was still in the lazy boy. He hadn't really
wow.
moved. He was so depressed and so down, and now he's good.
Oh, that's such a wonderful story. You've been through so much, but it's just such a great happy ending. And I'm so glad that your Sten is back to you. That's so lovely. And I wish you continued good health for both of you. And I want to thank you for joining in on the Contino conversation. It's just been delightful having you. It's quite a heartfelt story. You've been through so much, so I really want to express my gratitude for sharing your stories, and it will help so many other people. One more question I wanted to ask you was with regard to the cost. Do you or Sten find the cost prohibitive in any way, or is it well worth it? Is it similar? It seems to me it's similar to the annual cost of pads, or as you say, diapers. So how does that affect um, your
Because
life? You said you're retired.
we have extended insurance. So there's very little cost, even if the cost is little compared to the diapers. You are right. And anything else, like all the other incontinent things that you would be using, the Contino is very reasonable. And when it makes such a difference and a man can have control like that, it's wonderful. That's all we would look at.
Yeah,
But like I said,
well worth the
we're
price.
yeah, the
Sounds
price,
like well worth the price.
mhm, very much worth the price.
That's great. Okay, Judy, thank you again so much. Lovely to talk to you. And thanks for sharing your story.
Thank you. Bye, Maureen.